Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
Welcome, everybody. Another edition of the Bison Media Zone here on this Wednesday morning. Our final in studio before we head back over to the BMZ set starting next week because fall camp opens next Monday. North Dakota State has its first practice inside the Indoor Performance Center and outside as well on the outdoor turf fields to start the ramp-up for the game on August the 29th against the University of Colorado. Earlier this week, the Missouri Valley Football Conference released its preseason poll. In all conference teams, North Dakota State was picked second. They received one first-place vote in the ballot. South Dakota State, of course, picked to win the league. The Bison, though, had plenty on the all-conference team. Led by, on their offensive line, Gray Zabel was a first-team selection. They also had Hunter Brosio picked at two separate spots. Brosio was picked at both fullback and long snapper for the all-conference team. On defense, they were led there by Dylan Hendricks and Eli Mostart. Each of them were first-team selections preseason-wise. Both of them last year were also all-conference picks. Logan Kopp was selected as an all-conference linebacker, and Cole Wisniewski on the back end at defensive back were the all-conference first-team picks for North Dakota State. Bison do have some young players at wide receiver. Yet to see them really step up, though. Cam Miller was a second-team all-conference pick with Mark Gronowski leading the way on the first team for the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And you can check out those polls are available in forum.com. We'll also have them available on WDAY Plus if you missed them from earlier in the week. So it is now underway for Tim Polasek as the head football coach. There was the offseason, there was spring football, there was recruiting season, but now it's actually time for the actual campaign to get underway. I visited with him yesterday. This is just a snippet of our interview talking about some big picture things, not necessarily who's going to be playing where and who needs to step up, more so about his development as a head football coach and trying to get more excitement back in the Bison football team.
Okay, who do we have to be in order to beat the best people on our schedule? I'm excited to deliver that message because I think it's really simple. We have to eliminate bad football in big games. You can't lose the turnover battle, right? So we got to play clean, but we also got to be thinking, okay, who are going to be the playmakers that can emerge offensively and defensively to create takeaways and to create explosive plays of 20 plays or more. And so that's exciting. But I think the fundamentals and technique, great fundamentals and technique will always lead to great plays. Being a great teammate will always give your teammates a chance to make a great play. So those core value things and those standard type things we've been talking about a long time, I'm really fired up to tie that to football now and to move forward instead of it just being how we work.
When you look at this football season, you've been out on the road. Do you get a sense of palpable excitement for Bison football, knowing who your first opponent is?
Yeah, I think so. There's been a lot of opportunities for myself and other coaches on the staff, other departments. Whether it's golf outings with team makers or playing golf in the community, getting together for social events. I'm trying to, it takes all of us. It takes a community. That's what makes this so special, right? Like Fargo and being a Bison. And I know there's going to be, a pretty cool story coming out about Gray Zabel staying, going into the Colorado game. And man, to just get perspective on that, we need everybody to be energetic about every Saturday. And then I've said it time and time again, I think it's a case where our kids really have earned the right to be supportive, achieving at a high level academically, do well in the community, are willing to give back to the community. And there's more and more reasons for them to do that now. But man, it's an exciting time. My passion and energy for this place, my love, I'm honored to be the head football coach here is all real. We won't, go down without a fight, right? Where no one's going to outwork us. And so I'm so excited to see if we can capitalize on the opportunity we have this year. But the energy, I think, if I'm reading the community right, it's real. And we need the community to have that energy and passion. And we want Saturdays to be exciting.
Visiting with Chris Kleiman and Gene Taylor, when I asked them both about you being a head coach, both their faces lit up. Excitement, energy, that's going to come when I say that, what comes to mind when you hear that from guys that you work with so well and so close?
I think it really is outstanding. I mean, I think like early in my career, that was a big part of becoming labeled a good coach, right? Catch some other veteran type coaches' eyes with a spirit and an energy for teaching and coaching and a passion for football, right? I hope that along with that, people will eventually tag, man, that guy's sharp. He's organized. He's a good leader of men. He's helped young coaches develop into better coaches. And so it's not about me. It's about this program, and anybody that's been part of it knows that. We're all fortunate to be here. But I look forward to writing my chapter in the Bison history, and I would be lying if I didn't say that. But it's going to take all of us.
What do you, for fall camp, you're so used to being in one position or going around. Like, have you envisioned that of like, okay, I have to get all over the place? Have you mapped that out in your mind of what you want to do?
I'm more concerned with where I go, during the day. Okay, what meetings and why am I going into meetings, right? Like, I think it's awesome to be in Devin Kleinman's meeting, because if you want perspective on defense, understand safety play. And on top of it, he knows the playbook, the system really well. If you want to learn fundamentals and what really matters, you go into the defensive room. I think that I'll do everything in my power to stay away from the O-line and do most of my work as far as offensive line or offensive blocking schemes from my office. But I do so look forward to being in Randy's meetings. And then, just hearing Jake's perspective and how he projects to the offensive unit. I mean, I have to map that out yet. And then on a daily basis, I've kind of probably leaned towards trying to get to know the defensive kids more, just making a conscious effort, because it's much easier for me to just gravitate towards the offense.
Just a snippet of my conversation to sit down to open up the 2024 season with head coach Tim Polasek. That'll be sprinkled about. Much more on that over the coming days and weeks and leading up to our coverage of the season opener for North Dakota State as they take on Colorado. We'll break now. We come back. We got some hoops news to chat about. We'll do that on the other side of the break. Excuse me. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody, here on the Bison Media Zone. Basketball schedule starting to get finalized. Late last week, NDSU men's basketball announced that they will take on the Butler Bulldogs out of the Big East Conference. First ever meeting between the two schools. The game will be played December the 10th in Indianapolis. Butler, of course, nationally known, runners-up in 2010 and 2011. This past season, they made the NIT. They lost in the opening round to Minnesota. Won 17 games a season ago. That is part of a, so far, packed non-conference schedule for the North Dakota State men, which will include opening up the home portion against Bowdoin-Scunberg and Illinois State on November the 7th. That date was confirmed. We reported that a few weeks ago. It was confirmed, though, yesterday by the school. That'll be the home opener against Illinois State, who will make its first appearance in Fargo. The Bison also will have Western Michigan coming here on December the 15th. That is the back end of a home-and-home game against the Broncos. You remember NDSU opened up last season against Western Michigan, a game they won in overtime in Kalamazoo. The Bison will also take on Santa Clara out of the West Coast Conference. Santa Clara is in the same league with Gonzaga and Portland. The Bison beat Portland last year. That's part of a California road swing because NDSU will play, as we talked about last week here on the BMZ. They took on Cal State Bakersfield in a matchup on November the 11th. Then they'll play Santa Clara. Remember, the Roadrunners are coming back here on December the 23rd, right before Christmas. One other basketball note to get to before we say goodbye. As we mentioned, the Olympic Games begin now. The 3-on-3 basketball tournament is in its second occurrence at the Olympics. It was introduced in Tokyo in 2021, and it features some of the best American players that didn't make Team USA are playing on the 3-on-3 team, including Haley Van Lith, the standout former Louisville and LSU player, plays on Team USA. The Australians have a pretty dynamic team led by a former Bison. Marina Whittle is part of the Australian team that is playing at the Olympics. She's actually been playing in Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan before the tournament begins in Paris, which will, for them, begin a week from yesterday. July 30th is when the 3-on-3 tournament begins. The Australians play Canada to open up the round-robin play, and they are one of the favorites to potentially move out and have a chance to medal in this event. So Whittle, who left over 1,000-point score, actually scored over 1,500 points in her career from 2012 to 2016 with North Dakota State, part of some teams that were really struggling at NDSU. She was certainly one of the bright spots. The Australians play the Americans. That will happen on August the 1st, so a week from Thursday will be their first matchup against Team USA. So Whittle will have a chance to face off against the Americans, which would be fun for them. So NDSU has 2 Olympians in Paris, obviously with Marina Whittle, and we know Peyton Otterdahl's story. We had Peyton on a few weeks ago as he gets set to compete in his second Olympic Games in the shot put. That begins a week from Friday. August the 2nd is when the shot put competition goes, one of the most highly anticipated track events of the Olympics, considering Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs of their outstanding talent. Otterdahl will try to fight in there to get a bronze medal potentially. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. Next week, we're back full ramp up for football season with practice underway. Thanks so much for watching this week's edition of the BMZ. We'll see you back here next week on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com.